warm welcome from London to this special edition of The Inside Story, Rishi Raj. On Diwali, the United Kingdom got a new Prime Minister, a young, vibrant Tory leader of Indian heritage, Rishi Sunak, who has already created history. But the path ahead of him is certainly a challenging one, and the first day of Parliament proved just that.
Even his own side know he's not on the side of working people. That's why the only time he ran in a competitive election, he got trounced by the former Prime Minister, who herself got beaten by a lettuce. So why doesn't he put it to the test, let working people have their say and call a general election?
There's a clamour for a general election in the United Kingdom after having 3 Prime Ministers in 10 months of 2022. Rishi Sunak became Britain's 3rd Prime Minister in under 2 months as his Conservative Party struggles to heal divisive wounds from months of infighting. In the 3 years of Tory rule UK faced, as termed by the current Prime Minister himself, a profound economic challenge. He now leads the Conservative with a substantial parliamentary majority inherited since the 2019 general election.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about mandates, about votes, about elections. It's a bit rich coming from the person who tried to overturn the biggest democratic vote in our country's history. Our mandate is based on a manifesto that we were elected on to remind him an election that we won and they lost. A mandate that says we want a stronger NHS, better schools, safer streets, control of our borders and levelling up. That is the mandate that I and this government will deliver for the British people.
The opposition openly claws him for his lack of electoral success and privileged background.
The government currently allows very rich people to live here but register abroad for tax purposes. I don't need to explain to the Prime Minister how non-dom status works. He already knows all about that. It costs the Treasury £3.2 billion every year. Why doesn't he put his money where his mouth is and get rid of it?
UK's current Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is married to Indian billionaire heiress Akshata Murthy. Despite her 15-year-old marriage to the Tory leader, she still retains her Indian citizenship and has been accused of evading taxes on non-domiciled status. These allegations in the run-up to the last Prime Minister selection process in September cost Sunak his chance to office. Though he is prepared with a suitable answer this time, there's no escaping his privileged status.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I have been honest. We will have to take difficult decisions to restore economic stability and confidence. And my honourable friend, the Chancellor, will set that out in an autumn statement in just a few weeks. But what I can say, as we did during COVID, we will always protect the most vulnerable. We will do this in a fair way. But what I can say, I am glad, Mr. Speaker, that the party opposite, honourable gentleman, has finally realised that spending does need to be paid for. For the party opposite, this government is going to restore economic stability and we will do it in a fair and compassionate way.
It's a tough road full of challenges for Rishi Sunak. He's the youngest Prime Minister of the UK in the past 2 centuries. He's the first Prime Minister of colour with South Asian background in a deeply class-conscious Britain of today that's so strongly divided along racial lines. The man out on the streets of London knows it too well.
I don't think you can understand what normal people go through if your worth is like £730 million. It's just crazy. You can't understand what people who live on like 20 grand a year go through. So yeah, he's definitely out of touch. And it just kind of makes me sick that he would cut he cut the uplift for universal credit when he was Chancellor. And I just don't really think that there is any hope that he's going to do anything to help poorer people.
No, I don't think he understands, because he hasn't had this. You know what I mean? He ain't walked around looking at the pennies you got. You know, he's got that money. He's laughing at us.
You're back collecting income, to deal with the balance of trade deficits, and the fact that you have significant wealth and you're not contributing. So I'm assuming that she's actually living in the country and you're not contributing. And this is exactly the type of out-of-touchness in terms of, this is who I serve, this is what I actually believe. If I can get away with it, I will do it.
Yet 42-year-old Rishi Sunak is the only choice suited in these troubled times.
The new Prime Minister is a man of his word. Just as he had promised, he was hands-on with the job from the very first moment. But instead of being appreciated, he has been criticized, especially for his cabinet choices.
6 days after she resigned, Suella Braverman was reappointed as the Home Secretary by the new UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. And with that one move, his cabinet on the very first day was on the defence mode. Suella Braverman stepped down as Home Secretary in the final days of Liz Truss's premiership, admitting to have committed a technical infringement of the rules by sending an official document to someone not authorized to receive it. Within hours of her appointment, the entire Sunak government was at work to protect the Prime Minister's decision.
The Home Secretary made an error of judgment, but she recognised that, she raised the matter and she accepted her mistake. And that's why I was delighted to welcome back into a united cabinet that brings experience and stability to the heart of government.
Well, Suella made a mistake. She has said herself that she made a mistake. She's apologised for that mistake, and she stood down at the time. But ultimately, she has, I think, got very, very clear ideas about how we improve the performance of the Home Office, both in terms of border control, policing, how we make sure we crack down on crime. She's very passionate about that, got a very clear agenda for that, and it's clear that the Prime Minister wanted to see that delivered.
Dust over Braverman's appointment was yet to settle when news of opposition to her reinstatement in the cabinet from within the Conservatives made things worse. Next, the much-awaited statement on the country's economic affairs was delayed from 31st October until 17th November.
The Prime Minister and I have decided that it is prudent to make that statement on the 17th of November, when it will be upgraded to a full autumn statement. And I've discussed this last night with the Governor of the Bank of England. He understands the reasons for doing that, and I'll continue to work very closely with him.
As the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt became controversial in the Liz Truss government. His reintroduction in the Sunak cabinet was seen more as a continuation of the past order than the promise of the new stability that Rishi Sunak promised.
I think, in a sense, his more immediate priority has to be to assume that the best thing he can do to turn around the Conservative electoral fortunes is to show that the Conservatives are capable of governing in a fair way in the national interest, some of the language that they've been using. Because if they continue to look, various Conservative backbenchers have said this, if they continue to look like a party that is incapable of making decisions, incapable of making those decisions stick, then they will probably deserve to be punished by the electorate next time round.
Within 24 hours of taking charge, Rishi Sunak removed about a dozen members of Truss's government, but kept several senior figures in place besides Jeremy Hunt and Suella Braverman. James Cleverly as the Foreign Secretary, Ben Wallace as Defence Secretary, and Penny Mordaunt as leader of the House of Commons were retained from the past government.
Just in the last year, in 1 year, the consumer price index has gone over 10%. What does that mean in the kitchens of the people? I'm here with Ria, Devanshi and Ankush, and they have very kindly let me in their kitchen and explaining how is this really, what does this really mean? So tell me, where is it hurting? This whole cost of living crisis and this and that. Tell me, what does that mean to you day to day?
Yeah, so basically in previous times, like before 2 to 3 years, it was like when we go to a supermarket to shop our, daily needs like milk, bread, etc. It was like really cheap price. Like if I gave an example, then the milk was around 129 around, but now it's like 179 in just 2 years, and it's really, really, really high. So as far as vegetables is concerned, like okra and magnuts and everything, it's really, really high. So yeah, it is affecting our kitchen a lot.
Yeah. Firstly, we were free to bring everything because it was not that much costly. But now we are thinking that we should cut this, we should not bring this, because what are the things that you're cutting? So like, as she said, that okra, it's very high in cost. If we talk about any fruit like suppose watermelon, so we don't take it because we think that it's too expensive. Yeah, too expensive. And you have a child as well. You don't look a child yourself, but you have a child. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And she loves watermelon, to be honest. But yeah, we are, previously we used to bring it like twice a week, but now we are trying to get it once a week, or sometimes we skip it.
So have you rationed ki menu mein we just have vegetables twice a week, or?
So it's like, thrice a week. Vegetable is thrice a week, but maximum it's like one is with gravy and another one is with potato, onion, mixed thing.
And
so
what we are doing is over here we get cans of this pulses. Like if there's a chickpeas, if there's rajma, so we get cans. So we just think that okay, onion and tomatoes are good to bring, so we'll bring that and we'll bring this can, so that we don't need to bring that other vegetables which are costly, because the pound rate is also fluctuating
a lot.
So that is the reason that we are getting less money and we need to spend more. So that is the reason we need to. Yeah. You miss India and mom then.
Of course.
Yeah,
And now we are getting all the mumgiris, like how we can evaluate the things and how we can use the leftovers and etc. Previously we used to like, it's okay, leftover hai, let it be, but now we have to be
now we
very
use
careful.
It. Yeah. We use the leftovers. And they are Nanand and Bhabhi, by the way. So that's fantastic. But you're doing a good job. So let me get to your husband now. Come here, Ankush, and tell me how are you managing your energy? Is that also affecting?
Yeah, that's affecting a lot. So basically, if I just compare within the last time frame, on an average we used to pay around £105 a month, and on that, like last whole year we were into the credit around £500 till last December 2021. And this year is just September, and now we are into the debit part around £2,300. So that's a huge difference which we are looking into the energy crisis. So we're trying to save it a lot in terms of getting used to with the coal and not using much, I would say, the heaters, using as much as possible the lights and other stuff. So definitely trying to evaluate this situation and getting over, so because
getting back to sweaters like in India.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, keeping yourself cozy into the home itself, and also like if I say the expense have increased drastically, but the wages has been still the same. So definitely that gives a huge difference.
You're feeling that pinch. I'm here with Dr. Mohan Kaul, who was the former dean of IIM Ahmedabad, and then the chairman of Commonwealth Business Council. He runs his own think tank post-Brexit and is on the board of directors of many companies, has been an advisor to the UN as well, and closely connected with India and Britain, the business investment marketing side of it. So thank you for your time, Dr. Kaul. Getting to now the nitty-gritty of it, he's come, done and dusted. Now it's the job. Do you think he's really going to shine, or he's been put there as a scapegoat to clean the mess and then get someone who is someone else, let's say it?
No, I think, well, whatever may be the reason for him becoming Prime Minister, he has come there of his own will, and a lot of work he has put in to get that. And you were seeing the election process where he spoke then every day, many times. So I think he's there because he loves the job. He's there because he knows the job. He knows how to fix the economy. He knows what are the aspirations of people, old and young. People are facing a lot of hardships at this time, as you know, because of different circumstances. It's one of the worst times to be in that situation. But Putin war with Russia, and which is going to affect the United Kingdom. So I think he's the right person to sort of fix the United Kingdom, and people, I think, will be surprised how well he will come out. I mean, that's my feeling. People think sometimes that he is only for a short while. I don't think so. I think he will surprise people next month actually, with the budget, and I think he will be a very successful Prime Minister.
What do you think it will take for him to last? Because there is cost of living crisis, there is inflation, and there is energy crisis. Challenges are many.
Absolutely, and those are for him as well as for any other Prime Minister, whoever would have been there. The good thing about him compared to others would have been there, that he's professional, and that is what I like about him. He is professional first. Secondly, he has been in business and he has been in various fields. I think he will understand what it means for smaller businesses, what it means for pensioners to look, to have their life at this time of hardship. So I have a feeling, I'm very optimistic. I feel he will surprise people on 17th of November with the new budget.
Rishi Sunak is a first-generation British of Indian origin. His immigrant parents came to the UK in search of a better future for their family, and their son has backed the top position of the country at a critical and crucial moment. Here's a quick look at Rishi Sunak, the man, and his origins.
It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to.
Who is Rishi Sunak, Britain's new Prime Minister?
I am resigning.
After Liz Truss's chaotic 6 weeks in charge,
We have made mistakes.
Boris Johnson's aborted comeback mission, and Penny Mordaunt's failure to secure enough Tory backers,
Rishi Sunak is there.
42-year-old Sunak is now at the helm of a country desperately in need of some stability. Let's take a look at how he got here.
That means honesty and responsibility, not fairy tales.
Southampton-born Sunak is the UK's first Prime Minister of Indian descent. His family migrated to Britain in the 1960s, a period when many people from Britain's former colonies moved to the country to help it rebuild after the Second World War. Sunak attended the exclusive private school Winchester College, studied philosophy, politics and economics at Oxford University, and then got an MBA from Stanford University. It was there he met his wife Akshata Murthy, whose father is Indian billionaire Narayan Murthy, founder of IT services giant Infosys. Before entering politics, Sunak worked as an analyst at Goldman Sachs and was later a partner at 2 hedge funds. He's thought to be one of the richest members of Parliament, and his wealth and private school background has come into focus during TV debates. Sunak was elected to Parliament in 2015 and had a swift rise within the Conservative Party. He campaigned for leave in the EU referendum. By 2020, aged only 39, Sunak was named Finance Minister by Boris Johnson.
Delighted to be appointed, lots to get on with. Thanks very much.
Within weeks of becoming Chancellor, Sunak found himself having to steer the UK economy as the COVID-19 pandemic began.
I said I would do whatever it takes.
He pledged to do whatever it takes to help people through the pandemic and developed a popular furlough scheme to support millions of people through multiple lockdowns. He was also behind the Eat Out to Help Out initiative to boost the struggling hospitality sector in summer 2020. That included waiting tables at a central London eatery.
There we go.
In April 2022, Sunak had to deal with the fallout of being fined by police for breaking lockdown rules in Downing Street in June 2020. In that same month, he and his family's finances came under intense scrutiny. It was revealed that his wife, who is an Indian citizen, had not been paying her British tax on her foreign income through her non-domiciled status. The status is available to foreign nationals who do not see Britain as their permanent home.
She's always followed all the rules, paid all the tax in the UK that is due and paid tax internationally on her international investments, but she recognises this goes beyond just following those rules.
The revelations hurt Sunak ahead of his race against Liz Truss. Sunak eventually resigned as Chancellor in July 2022, a move that contributed to the downfall of Johnson as Tory leader and Prime Minister.
Hasta la vista, baby.
During the race to replace his former boss, Sunak lost out to Truss in the last leadership contest. While some choose to label the multi-millionaire as out of touch, others believe Sunak is the person to bring some calm to the economy.
We need a return to traditional Conservative economic values.
After all, he was proven right in his warnings that Truss's fiscal plan threatened financial stability. Sunak has pledged to bring integrity, professionalism and accountability to government. But he has a mountain to climb to try to restore or renew the reputation of the Conservative Party, following one of the most turbulent periods in British political history.
There is much interest and talk about the First Lady of Britain. Akshita Murthy and Rishi Sunak met at Stanford University and have been married 15 years. She's a billionaire heiress with Indian passport. Here's a quick look at who is the new First Lady at 10 Downing Street.
The new First Lady of the United Kingdom is also known as Bengaluru's Namma Hudugi or Our Girl. Akshita Murthy is the daughter of billionaire tech icon Narendra Modi, the founder of software giant Infosys. But with the billionaire heiress all set to move to 10 Downing Street, all eyes are now on the wealth and opulence that follows the First Lady who rose from Bengaluru's first family. Akshita was raised in humble beginnings. Her father founding Infosys just a year after her birth in Karnataka's Hubli, leading Narendra Modi to become one of India's wealthiest men. Fast forward to 2022, and Akshita Murthy owns a 1% stake in Infosys, which approximately amounts to at least £400 million. The millionaire heiress also has an impeccable taste in fashion and set up a fashion label, Akshita Designs. It wound up 3 years later. But armed with her father's entrepreneurial genes and Infosys shares, Akshita Murthy also holds stakes in multiple businesses, joint ventures with Amazon and burger chain Wendy's in India, among a few. Not just that, the First Lady of England also manages Caterman Ventures, a family business owned by her father, Narendra Modi. But Rishi Sunak's summer campaign for Prime Minister has nearly jeopardized when word came out of Akshita's non-domiciled tax status in the United Kingdom. This tax status meant that the heiress saved millions of pounds in taxes from her Infosys earnings, among many. While not illegal, the row raised questions of being ethical. Amid pressure from the media and public, Akshita was forced to ultimately give up her non-domiciled tax status. She had also faced some backlash recently after serving tea to journalists in super expensive cups. amid the UK cost of living crisis. Combined with British PM Rishi Sunak, the first couple will sit pretty on a combined wealth of nearly £700 million, making them the richest to enter the doors of 10 Downing Street. Bureau Report, India Today.
That's all that we have time for in this edition of The Inside Story, as we wish Rishi Sunak all the very best.